In the second round, number 53 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, the quarterback out of Oklahoma. What the heck? I believe I might have made a big mistake before the NFL draft, by the way. I watched the film of Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love, Jacob Eason, Justin Herbert, and then I ranked them in that order. And I made a video called Ranking the Top 5 Quarterbacks in the 2020 NFL Draft. And it's really unfortunate that after I made that video and after I made that topic is when I then dove into watching film of Jalen Hurts, the quarterback from Oklahoma. It's a big mistake. Jalen Hurts should have been in my top 5 quarterbacks. I would have put him number 3. I would have said Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, then Jalen Hurts as my number 3 quarterback on the board. I really felt that strongly about him. He was great on film, way, way better than I thought he was going to be. I think the problem with Jalen Hurts is that he got benched at Alabama a couple of years ago and replaced by Tua. And I think after that, people kind of stopped paying attention to Jalen and really wrote him off. And no one really paid attention to his massive, massive improvement as a quarterback in the last couple of years, especially at Oklahoma. Last year at Oklahoma, he made great decisions. He was more accurate than I expected him to be. He was good at improvising, extending running routes, and extending plays. And I was talking to Brett Coleman about this. Brett Coleman is probably, in my opinion, the very best draft analyst in the world when it comes to understanding every single position at a really technical level and predicting what's going to happen in the draft. And me and Brett were talking, and he said he felt like most people focused on Jalen Hurts' problems rather than his good plays. Like with Justin Herbert, we saw Justin Herbert drafted number 6 overall, and people only focused on Justin Herbert's good plays and ignored his bad plays. Meanwhile, with Jalen Hurts, the opposite happened, where people only focused on Jalen Hurts' negative plays and totally ignored Jalen's good plays. Very odd to me. And when Brett Coleman pointed that out to me, he's totally right. People zeroed in on like the 3 good throws a game Justin Herbert would have, and meanwhile totally write off Jalen Hurts because of his 3 bad throws during a game, focusing only on the good with Justin Herbert and only the bad with Jalen Hurts. And I just think it's fascinating to me. Jalen Hurts was a lot better than people realized. But here's the question. Why would the Eagles draft him? Number one, immediately, it's very possible that the Eagles could use Jalen Hurts the way that the Saints used Taysom Hill, kind of as a hybrid quarterback, a guy who can run the ball, he can play quarterback a little bit normally, but really a guy who can contribute to your team in so many ways because of his athletic ability. But Jalen Hurts also, whether he plays as a quarterback or plays on special teams, regardless of what he does, he makes your roster better because of who he is. He's a guy with tremendous character, his work ethic, his leadership. People want him in the building. But you also have to remember that Doug Peterson, the Eagles head coach, played quarterback in the NFL. He loves the quarterback position. He's a nerd about quarterbacks. And I believe as a coach, Doug Peterson looked at Jalen Hurts and the value he brought and what he saw on film and said, man, I cannot pass up on an opportunity to work with Jalen Hurts. Is he going to be our starting quarterback? No. Does that make any sense? Not really, but I want to draft him and work with him. And Jalen Hurts' legacy is work ethic and improvement. That's what he did in college. He worked really hard and he got way better. I am absolutely certain that Doug Peterson looks at Jalen Hurts and goes, I can make that kid better. I can work with Jalen Hurts and make him a better quarterback. Now, what's the future for Jalen Hurts? Is he the franchise quarterback for the Eagles? No, not really. Could he be a Taysom Hill type guy, a hybrid who brings value to the Eagles roster? Probably. I think that's what they'll do this year with him. But in the long run, either this, maybe Carson Wentz gets hurt and Jalen Hurts proves to be really helpful as a backup for the Eagles. We've seen multiple times Carson Wentz has got hurt at really inconvenient times, and they've needed a backup quarterback. But also, maybe a couple of years from now, 2 years from now, down the road, the Eagles look, hey, we got Jalen Hurts, number 53 overall, for a second-round pick. Maybe down the road, they trade Jalen Hurts for a first-round pick or a second-round pick and a third-round pick. They can, the word Brett Coleman used when we talked is he said, maybe flip Jalen Hurts. I love that, and you never really know, but I really strongly believe that Jalen Hurts is going to make the most of his opportunity with the Eagles. He works incredibly hard, and I honestly believe Jalen could become a franchise quarterback. Probably not with the Eagles. Carson Wentz is their dude, But look for maybe Jalen Hurts to be traded down the road by the Eagles. They can use what was a second-round pick and get even more value down the road by trading him away to another team. I think he's much, much better than people realize. And Doug Peterson goes, man, I can use that player, I can work with him, and I can make him way, way better as a quarterback. Great, phenomenal pick by the Eagles. It may not pay huge dividends this year. Maybe he's just a hybrid-type quarterback. But look for him to be a trade piece down the road. Howie Roseman is a really, really smart general manager for the Philadelphia Eagles. He knows what he's doing. I really believe in him and trust him. And he got a great, great draft pick with Jalen Hurts, a guy who's way better than 53rd overall in the NFL draft. A lot better. His film was incredible. It really surprised me, and a lot better than Justin Herbert, who was number 6 overall in the NFL draft, which is crazy to me. Justin Herbert 6th overall, Jalen Hurts number 53 overall. Are you kidding me? But it's because people could not overlook the changes he's made as a quarterback over the years. He's a great leader. He can do a lot. Jalen Hurts can play special teams, kind of be that hybrid quarterback. And I believe the Eagles are going to design very specific plays for Jalen Hurts' skill set. Carson Wentz is the Eagles quarterback. They have a huge contract with him. There's no danger of Carson losing his job. But the Eagles look at Jalen Hurts as a developmental player who is worth way more than a second-round pick. And I just really think that the Eagles made a great, great draft pick by bringing in Jalen Hurts in the second round. In case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports is not just a YouTube channel. It is also a full audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And if you like podcasts, please do me a huge favor and give it a listen.